Hello everyone and welcome to this tutorial on VSTACK and HSTACK. These are two functions that can be incredibly useful when working with spreadsheets as they allow you to easily combine data from multiple cells or ranges. First of all, let's take a look at VSTACK. VSTACK allows you to stack two or more ranges of data vertically. So on your screen, you can see two different tables and on your right hand side, those two tables have been stacked one on top of each other. Now let's take a look at HStack. HStack allows you to stack two or more ranges of data horizontally. So on your screens, on the left hand side, we have two tables, one with the name, location, date of birth, and for the same people, we have the name and the grade. So HStack allows you to stack these two tables horizontally, and you can see it on the right hand side, brought in the name and the grade, and has been joined horizontally to the main table. Now let's jump into Excel and take a look at an example with VSTACK. On your screen, you can see two tables having the same columns. And our goal here is to stack one table on top of the other one. So we are going to start writing the formula by starting with VSTACK. So equal to VSTACK. And then the tooltip says that we need array number one. I'm going to move the tooltip here. So we need the first array. So the first array is this range right here. And then you bring your comma and then select the second range right here. Close your parenthesis and then press the enter key. And the two tables have been stuck together. So you can see from the salesperson ID that we have 1 to 5 here, and then just under it the 5006 continuous. So the two tables have been stacked. Now let's take a look at another example in which we have different sales data from 4 different states: New York, Maryland, Virginia, and Ohio, and all of them have the same columns. So our goal here is to stack them together. So we are going to use VStack again. So I'm going to the first cell here to type my VStack formula. So equal to VStack. VStack. And then we need the first array. The first array, I'm going to use my tooltip again. The first array is a New York array. So I'm going to click in the first cell, shift control, right arrow, shift control, down arrow. That is how we select the whole range. And then we bring in our comma. What we need again is Maryland. So Maryland has just a few number of rows. So I'm just going to go ahead and select everything like this. And then we go to Virginia, we select the whole range. And then we go to the last one, Ohio, and select the whole range. Close our parentheses and then press the enter key, and then you realize that everything has been put together nicely and stacked. Now let's take another example using 3D referencing. Okay, instead of doing it this way, I'm going to go ahead and do it a simpler way. So I'm going to delete everything that I just did, and it's blank. Now I'm going to stack all the 4 states again. So now what I have to do in this case is to just start writing my formula. It's equal to VStack. And then we select New York. That is the first sheet. And then keep your finger pressed on the shift key and select the last one, Ohio. So it has selected all the 4. And then in one of the cells, which is showing right now is New York, we have to select the range. But now it has selected only up to 12. Okay, but we know that Ohio is more than 12. So because we don't know how many rows we'll be getting, at least we have an idea that all the rows we'll be getting maybe might be less than 20. This is an example, so a simple example. So I'll just use 20. So the maximum that we might be getting is 12 rows, 20 rows. So I'm going to go ahead, instead of the 12, I change it to 20 rows. And I'm done. So it's telling me that I'm stacking New York to Ohio. And for each of the cells is from C3 to H20. And I press the enter key. So it's done. But look at what happens. We have all these zeros in between. And the reason we have all these zeros is that we asked the formula, or we told the formula, so to speak, that we need data from C3 to H20. But we don't have that many rows in some of the states. So that is why for, let's say, New York, after the 10 rows, the other 10 is zeros. So how do we get rid of these zeros? And that is where we have to use this filter function. We have to filter all these zeros out. And like I said before, the zeros we have there is because of the blank rows up to 20. So all these are blank rows. So we need to filter them out. So we are going to use the function called filter. Okay, if you don't know how to use filter, you can watch my video on how to use the filter function. But for now, I'm going to use filter. So we are going to say filter. And then, but before I do that, let me copy the formula in place because I'm going to need it. I'm going to copy this. And then I'll go back and then write the word filter. So the array we want to filter is the array in place that is specified by the VSTACK formula. So be watching the tooltip. The first one is the array. The array is a formula. So we have that already, comma. And then what do we want to include? We want to include all the blanks, anything that is blank on those sheets. Because those blanks are now showing as zeros here. So we want to exclude the blanks. Okay. So we want to include the same VStack, and we stack all the salesperson's ID. We want to take out all the blanks. So this one is saying C3 to H20, but no, it's salesperson's ID, and salesperson's ID is in column C. So it's C3 to C20. So I'm going to change that H to C. So C3 to C20. And this we want to filter out. So we want to filter anything that is not equal to a blank. And a blank is a double quote like this. Anything that is not equal to a blank on those sheets. And then we close our parentheses. Okay. Once you do that and press the enter key, you see that all the zeros are taken out nicely. So even if we have a state with only 2 rows, for the rest, it's not going to show zeros. Okay. Now, let's take another example. Assuming that there is a new state, California. Their store just opened and they also brought their data to be added to the overall table. And this is California on your left hand side. Okay. Assuming this is a new data that just came in. Let's check if this is going to update our final formula or our final table. So I'm going to go ahead and drag this California into these sheets, and look at how I'm doing it. I just click on it, press on it, and then just drag it. And I'm going to drag it in between New York and Maryland. So long as it's between New York and Ohio, we should be fine. So I'm dragging it in, so that data has been added. Now let's go back to our VSTACK formula and see what happens to the table. Once we go to the table, you notice that California has been added automatically. Okay. It has been added automatically, and I'm highlighting it for you to see here. Okay, so if we bring another state another time, just drop it in, automatically our VSTACK formula or data table is going to be updated. So that is how we use VSTACK. This is a very simple example. There can be more challenging scenarios where you have to use VSTACK, but this is just a simple example. So you now know how to use VSTACK. In our next section, we are going to look at HSTACK. That is the opposite of VSTACK. Tile stacking equivalent of VSTACK. This is to stack two different ranges horizontally. So on your screen, you can see 2 tables, one having the salesperson's ID and the salesperson, and then the other one has the salesperson ID together with the product, the unit sold, the sales amount, and the sales date. So our goal here is to stack these two tables horizontally. And I'm going to start writing my formula again by using HSTACK, comma. And so the first input or the first argument is the first array. In this example, I didn't include, or I don't have the headers, so I'm going to include the headers in my array. So I'm going to select the first two columns and bring in my comma. And then in the second table, because I already have the salesperson ID, I don't want to select it twice. So I'm going to start selecting from the product to the sales date. So excluding the salesperson ID. So I'm going to select everything from product to sales date. That is my second array. Close my parentheses and press the enter key. So you notice that the data have been stacked together, or the tables have been stacked together horizontally, with the left table on the left hand side and then the right table on the right hand side. So that is how we use HSTACK. So there you have it for VSTACK and HSTACK. These functions can be incredibly useful when you need to combine data from multiple cells or ranges in the spreadsheet. So I hope you find them helpful in your own work. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe for more tutorials like this one.